We got the books Babylon to Timbuktu, you know, into Egypt with ships, Hebrewisms of West Africa. But as you know, in the UK, the Monday class is a history class. So today we're going to get into the history of God forbids us to live like the Egyptians. You know, in these last days, you got a lot of, you know, blackity black, conscious community guys that like to teach the Bible is stolen from Egypt. The Bible isn't real, or what's in the Bible isn't real. And we're gonna, you know, just touch on it a bit. Of course, there's much more which probably some of you online already know, or there's some things I won't bring out today, which, you know, some of you like know. But we're just gonna touch on that a bit, and also some of the lies in Egypt as well, like the pyramids are in line with the stars. You know what I mean? That the Egyptian gods did not exist. They was concepts. We're going to be touching on all of that today, showing you that so-called historians and scholars of the conscious community, they do not know what they're talking about. They do not know Egyptian history like they claim to do. You know what I mean? They did not know the realities of how the Egyptians lived and what they did. What they're doing is they're fascinated with Egypt. And like with anything you're fascinated with, you don't want to face the reality. You don't want to face the facts. You just want to be, you know, the black man's God, the pyramids, the maths. But Egyptians, they didn't just focus on that. Egyptians had a lifestyle which a lot of them don't want to admit. Egyptians had a lifestyle which a lot of them don't want to face. And in the class today, that's what we're going to get into. But before we get into that, just a few announcements. Do remember to pay your tithes. Tithes are 10% of anything you earn. Common example is as every week. If you earn £100, £10 will be 10%, and that will go to the priests and the prophets of the Lord, man. You know what I mean? Then in the UK, we have classes 3 times a week, and the address is 394 Lodge Road, postcode B18 5PW. So, you know, we do classes 3 times a week here, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well, all at the same time, 7 o'clock till 9, 7 o'clock in the afternoon till 9. You know what I mean? So it's open to all Israelites. You know what I mean? Of course, when you come through the doors, you are subject to search. So, you know, you will. So, of course, you will get searched. And, you know, of course, you're going to have manners. You're going to have respect. And then, you know what I mean? If you have any questions in the class, raise your hands. Then we got YouTube as well. I.S.U.P.K, United Kingdom. You know what I mean? So you can watch the classes live at the same time as well. And also, you need to give your name for attendance. So with that being said, let's get into it, man. All right, then let me get the notes out real quick. All right, so you know, all right, so many people, they believe that the Bible is stolen from Egypt, and you know, many people laugh at the spirituality in the Bible. But now, people from the conscious community, it shows you how much they don't know Egypt, because even in Egyptian myth, they believed in spirituality. They believed in things that you could not see. But what do they say? No, but those gods, they were concepts, they were myths. They didn't believe they existed. And of course, this being a history class, I'm going to show you today real Egyptians, not Israelites pretending to be Egyptians. Real Egyptians believe that these gods, so-called, existed. So we're going to get into that and show you that these people ignore the facts. So this is a book here. It's written by Vivian Davis and Renee Friedman. And the book is called Egypt Uncovered. Now, I'm going to read the preface of the book just to show you why this book was even written. So in the preface, I've just highlighted this part. Now, this is the book here. You can buy it on Amazon, you know, what's some other ones? Waterstone, W.H. Smith's. You know what I mean? I think the book's only £5 even now. So in the preface part, you know, it says a lot, but I've highlighted a specific part, if you can see it, which you probably can't. So in the preface, it goes focusing on some, by no means all, of the key archaeological sites in Egypt. So the history they're getting is from archaeology, it's from sites in Egypt and the Sudan, and a number of representative scientific reports. This book reviews major aspects of ancient Egypt in the light of latest advances. Why is it saying that? Because in the 90s, in the 80s, even in the early 1900s, many people viewed Egypt in one way. Like, for example, they believed that with the pyramids, they were aligned with the stars, and the pyramids meant more than what people thought it meant. But this book is letting you know, listen, we have latest advances, meaning there's things we know now about Egypt which we did not know back then. Certain concepts we thought about the Egyptians, we thought back then, now we know now. So in the latest advances in the knowledge and in the full collaboration of experts concerned. So make no mistake, this book here has the experts on Egyptian history, on Egyptian religion, on Egyptian spirituality. So this ain't some book that I'm using just to make my points. And then in the next page, it's got the acknowledgements and it's got all the experts. And believe me, I've counted them. It has 125 experts on Egyptology, on the archaeological sites. You know what I mean? And you see right here, so much names from here all the way down to here. So this is scholarly information, man. Now, with that being said, in this book, I've folded the parts that I wanted. All right, so yeah, start from here, and then I got the next page as well with the highlighted parts. Then I'll get the other parts here. Then we'll get into some more of the class as well.
From the book Egypt Uncovered, the Egyptians called such events chaos that release of powerful forces which could disrupt their ordered world.
Read on.
To protect themselves from chaos, the Egyptian envisioned a ruler or pharaoh who was a living god.
So now the pharaoh, he was seen as the living god. Why? Because there was a spirit of chaos, and they believed that the pharaoh, he restored a balance. So Egyptians did have a spiritual belief. Why? Because now in the conscious community, what do they teach? Egyptians didn't believe in these things. These were just concepts. They didn't believe this really existed. Meanwhile, scholars and historians and Egyptian experts, they say otherwise. Read on.
The earthly manifestation of Horus.
So hang on. So they believe that the pharaoh was what?
The earthly manifestation of Horus.
So they believe that the pharaoh, he was God on earth. So how can you teach Egyptians didn't have no spirituality when even the beginnings of the dynasties, a pharaoh was seen as God on earth, man? And then they talk about Egyptians didn't have no spirituality. They didn't believe in those gods literally existing. Meanwhile, Egyptian experts, 125 of them, they can agree that they did believe that. So who is someone that just reads a few books and believes what he just wants to believe against 125 Egyptian historians that have been to the archaeological sites? Read on.
The falcon ruler of the skies, pitted against him was the unruly god of the desert, Seth, the harbinger of chaos, a force that needed to be controlled but could never be defeated.
So now they obviously believed in gods, and they believe one restored order and another god brought chaos. So this is what Egyptians believed. And so you're telling me Egyptians did not believe these entities existed? Of course, us being in the truth, we know these are no gods. We know, you know what I mean? All of this is lies and fallacies and falsehoods. But Egyptians that lived at this time, they believed this. So who is someone to tell you Egyptians didn't believe in this? It was a concept. Meanwhile, historians that have been to Egypt can read the metadata, can understand Egyptian concepts and religion. They're telling you Egyptians did believe this, man. Read on.
The reconciliation of the conflict powers, of the conflicting powers of order and chaos was the king's chief role. The delicate balance was so important to Egyptians that they defined the concept as Ma'at.
Ma'at. So now they believed in one God that restores peace and one God of war. That they even made a concept called Ma'at. Does anyone know what Ma'at even means? It means peace. So they believe that if they came up with certain commandments and laws, that it would keep peace, to stop the God of peace and the God of war. So they came up with Ma'at. So how can you teach Egyptians didn't believe that these gods existed when they even made up laws to believe that, well, if we live by this, this will, you know, stop the wars that these gods have between them, the Horus and Seth? Read on.
God, a goddess with a feather of truth in her head. Ma'at was the favorite daughter of the creator God and the wife of the God of wisdom.
So they believe that God even had a altar as well. So for you to teach Egyptians didn't believe in gods, then what are you reading? What Egyptian history are you reading when 125 scholars that put this book together, they agree that, well, yes, Egyptians did believe in gods and did believe that they existed? Read on.
The creator and the wife of God of wisdom, since creation, she had lived among humans on earth. And
above that, they believe this God Ma'at lived above humans on earth, man. That's skip to the next page. I'm not gonna make this long-winded. Gonna make it nice and quick.
Like page 16, in the twilight of Egypt's greatness, around 300 BC, an Egyptian priest named Manetho.
So now Manethos, for those of you that don't know, when the Greeks conquered Egypt, you know, they wanted to know more about the Egyptians and their history. So they hired a Egyptian with a Greek name, because Manethos is not an Egyptian name, of course. And you know what I mean? He compiled all of the Egyptian history, and his name was Manethos. Read on.
Began to compile history of Egypt for his new monarch.
For his new who?
Monarch.
His new monarch, the Greeks. So you know what I mean? He was assigned, he was paid by the Greeks to, you know, put this history together. Read on.
Ptolemy, a Macedonian Greek successor of Alexander the Great. It was to be a complete history beginning with creation. So
now his job was to show Egyptian history from the creation, meaning, you know what I mean, he's so much of a Egyptian historian. He's going to show the Greeks Egyptian history all from the way back. Read on.
And in it, Manetho organized the pharaohs into 30 dynasties or royal families down to his own time.
So now, what a lot of people in the conscious community don't understand is Manethos, the book's going to explain, he was wrong in a lot of the compilations he did. And for time's sake, I'll give you an example. With the king's list he's put all the kings back to back. Now, anyone that knows Egyptian history, in Egypt, some of the kings reigned at the same time. Egypt wasn't always unified. You got the upper Egypt and the lower parts. And sometimes one king would rule in the upper part and another in the lower part. But what he did is he took both of those kings and put them back to back, like one had to die and then he ruled. Why? Because he's trying to make Egypt seem like it's the first civilization on earth. So a lot of people in the conscious community, they use his king's list to go, look, Egypt was the first civilization on earth, and it was not. And they use his history to try and make their point. But read on.
His history, however, has been preserved only in the works of later authors, who, for the most part, wished only to refute his claims of Egypt. So
now, later authors, they refute him. They're like, according to what we got now, what you say about Egypt ain't really true beneath us. What you claim Egypt is, this history ain't saying that, man. So with beneath us, historians that got his word later, they refute him. Meanwhile, in the conscious community, everyone loves him, man. In the conscious community, beneath us, like the man, not realizing that people that went after him, people that predate him, they debate him like, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what made him put that down, but they refute him now. So how can someone now come to you and use his king's list when, you know what I mean, the people that research his work, they're like, he's wrong. And that's the problem. In the conscious community, that's what a lot of them do. They get stuff that they believe benefits them, which can easily be debated against. They get things that people can argue against and go, no, that is incorrect. That is wrong, man. And that's the problem. And a lot of them, they do a very biased research and then think, you know, they're scholars and all that stuff. And they're not scholars, man. I'll say it for you if you're afraid to. The conscious community ain't scholars, man.
Right.
They're not historians. And I know you're watching new lectures and all this stuff, and they don't know history, man. All they do is just follow what they've been taught, and even that's wrong. But read on.
His claim to Egypt's vast heritage. Unfortunately, these copies are often contradictory.
So now, hang on. Manetho's work is what?
Contradictory.
So his own research contradicts himself. So now, why would you be researching a man whose own history contradicts himself? So, you know what I mean? Everyone loves him, you know, all the conscious community, they like his research, but his research contradicts itself, man. Read on.
With right and with errors.
And with errors, read on.
Only tattered fragments remain of the detailed records beneath us must have examined. And we can only imagine the wealth of information they once contained.
Yeah, read on the next part here.
The earliest name in the list is King means.
Oh, sorry, not that part. The next part on the lower left.
Got
it. This one.
Lower left. Lower right.
Lower right, my bad. Yeah.
Egypt was ruled by the demigods.
So now this is what Egyptians believe. So for someone to tell you Egyptians did not believe in gods that existed, then what Egyptian history are you reading, man? Read that one more time.
Egypt was ruled by the demigods.
So now real Egyptians, not Israelites thinking they're Egyptians, real Egyptians thought that Egypt was ruled by gods. So they did believe in gods that they could not see that did exist. Read on.
God, and called the spirits of the dead. Their names long forgotten. Among them were the falcon-headed souls of Buto and the jackal-headed soul. And so Egyptians did believe in spirituality. So how can someone say, no, in Egypt, those was concepts. Egyptians didn't believe that Horus really existed. He was a concept. With Seth, he was a concept. But real Egyptians and 125 Egyptian historians that wrote this book, they don't believe that, and they got the records. So who are you to say it was just a concept? They didn't believe it, and then laugh when you read the Bible about with Christ, he rose on the third day. Christ is coming out of the sky. You believe in spirituality. You believe in a dad in the sky. I mean, I've heard what they say. Meanwhile, in your own history, of course, it's not the same thing, but a spirituality of things that you can't see, it exists too, man. Read on. God, Hierakonpolis, the spirit of the defiled, dead, kings of 2 towns in 2 very different parts of Egypt.
So they had a spiritual aspects of life. So how can you look at the Bible and go, you believe in a God that you can't see? You believe angels really got wings when you believe in things that you can't see? And real Egyptians believe this, not you that just wants to believe what you want to believe. Real Egyptians believe that gods that they couldn't see existed. And just hand the book 1 second. There's just another bit I want to get into as well. All right, this part here. All right, so this is another bit I want to get into. Now, it's this is what now in this part of the book is called the resurrection machine. Now, it's got a pyramid right there. Now, for so many years, even with me being young, we were taught that, the pyramids, they are aligned with the Siddhas. That there was a bigger aspect of what we thought. Now, have in mind, this book is written by Egyptian scholars that went to Egyptian archaeology sites. Now, we're going to find out about a pyramid and what it really represented. Here we go. Yeah, just the highlight part and the next page of highlighted it as well.
Come. Verse 54, both Herodotus and Egyptian texts.
No sweat. So we're gonna get into that, man. They think a pyramid is something so amazing, and we're gonna find out what a pyramid, what it really was, man. We're taught that the pyramids align with the stars and angels made them, and then on top of that, you had that crazy nut, Dr. Malachi Z.York. Some mystical beings came down and they built the pyramids and all that. And we're going to find out what it really was, man. Now, listen, we're going to find out from scholars, not some weed head that follows Malachi Z.York. We're going to find out what a pyramid really represented and what it really was for. Read on.
Both Herodotus and Egyptian texts explicitly state that pyramids served as tombs.
As what?
Served as tombs.
As tombs. A pyramid, that's what it was. It was a tomb. Not because, look at the pyramid. It matches this star and this beam. Herodotus and Egyptian historians, they will tell you it's a tomb. So with the conscious community about, see that pyramid there? It matches the Milky Way. If you look at it, it matches some star. Meanwhile, real Egyptian historians tell you a pyramid is a tomb, nothing more. So when people say that to you, they're reaching. Now remember, this book I showed you in the beginning, it has 125 Egyptian historians that had their input on this book, and they went to all the sites. So one man that just has this opinion, you can't beat that. 125 Egyptian historians, and they're telling you a pyramid is nothing more than just a tomb. Read on.
Right. And the archaeological evidence confirms this beyond doubt.
And the archaeological evidence confirms it too, man. So who's the one to tell you it matches the stars? Look at the pyramid and it goes to the what do they call it? What's some star constellations?
Pisces.
Yeah, it matches the Pisces. If you look at the pyramid at this angle, please, no, it doesn't. Real people that been to Egypt, real people that can read the Metaneta, real people that don't just follow Malachi Z.York, they'll tell you what it is. It's just a tomb. So all the Egyptian history confirms it. Read on.
Nevertheless, from the 19th century onwards, bizarre theories.
And what?
Bizarre theories.
Bizarre theories. Now, you can guess what some of them are in it. It matches the stars and the maths, and it's so equally built every inch all the way around. bizarre theories, man. Read on.
About their function.
Yeah.
Have proliferated, insisting the Great Pyramid in particular serves a hidden or more exalted purpose.
A more exalted purpose. So even if historians is going, look, man, for so many years, people have made up this theory, or really it serves something more. Read on.
Interpreted variously as an astronomical observatory.
As an astronomical observatory. Like I said, it matches this star, this constellation. So people came with all these bizarre mysticisms about what they represented and about their functions. But read on.
Sundial, embodiment of secret knowledge about the past and the future.
Yeah, read on.
The Great Pyramid has been held to be perfect structure and a product of a divine inspiration.
There, so all what I said, they know this too. They are aware of this, that they've heard all these assumptions. Read on.
Such pyramidosity has sometimes been promoted for political reasons. For example, calculations not necessarily accurate.
What?
Not necessarily accurate.
This pyramid is equal always round. What did the historian say?
Not necessarily accurate.
So it's not even accurate. So they tell you, look at the maths, and it's all the way round, and the scientists can't figure it out. Listen, real historians, they tell you, those mathematicians that say the pyramid is equal at every angle and all the way, they tell you it's not even accurate, man. All those assumptions and all those mysticisms, they're not even accurate, man. So all the conscious community guys, learn some maths, man. And if you was to even add it up yourself, it's not even accurate what you're even saying. But read on.
Can reveal that the basic unit of measure used in the construction of the Great Pyramid was remarkably similar to the English inch. To the English inch.
So it ain't some maths that you can't find out. What they use would be the equivalent today of the English inch. An inch is about that much. So what's so hard about the maths? But even they know what they use is the equivalent to an English inch. So what are you talking about? See, the white man don't want you to know your hidden knowledge, brother. He don't want you to know about the pyramids and the maths all the way around. And what's so what's the big fad about it when they do know? So clearly the problem is you don't know. You've been following Malachi Z. York and what's the other one? Aswan, Kwesi, and people that didn't even know Egypt anyway. But read on.
As the perfect unit in a divine creation, to abandon the inch for a metric system. All right,
so yeah, basically that's going into the maths. I got the next page. It's a yellow highlight part. If there's any more on that, feel free. But if it's not, then.
Carl, verse 56, page 56.
So I've highlighted it with a yellow highlight.
Come on.
I got it. Go on.
To understand the origin of the pyramid, one must go back to the very beginning of the world as the Egyptians saw it.
So now the Egyptians, they had a view on the beginning of the world. So it doesn't make it right. But this is how the Egyptians viewed the origins of the world. Read on.
But at this time, there was only a watery void called none, which contained the essence of all creation. Out of the chaotic yet creative soup around the mounds, just as the mounds of the fertile still teeming with life emerged as the waters. Okay, so now they believe that in the beginning it was the waters and some mystical god called Nun and mounds, and that's why with their pyramids that they have, they believe that represents life. So they believe that mankind came from mounds, and it's funny because you read this here, they go in the Bible, man was made of the earth and that stuff. And you believe people came from mounds? So what are we talking about? Now, of course, in the Bible, man wasn't literally in which one it is about Adam, about from the dust of the ground. We know that means something else. But why would you knock someone if they was to think that was right? If you believe something that's around the same lines? And that shows you that the conscious community, do they really know Egypt like they say they do? Are they really historians like they say they do? When all the historians
they're saying things that are contradictory to them. It shows you that they don't know Egypt as much as they think they do. But read on. Yeah, can't.
But the pyramid itself was only one part of the resurrection machine.
So now they believe that it was going to resurrect them. So they believe one day that was going to be the device that was going to make them rise from the dead. And of course it didn't, because they're mummified till this day. So you know what I mean? As much as they believed it, it obviously was not true. It obviously was a lie. But let's read on.
Like all gods, the king was permanent need of the sustenance and offering which were provided to him on earth.
Yeah, no sweat. We can skip on that. That's the point being made there. I got another part, but we don't need to read it. It's just about their gods and what they believe was gods, because many of them tell you Egyptians did not believe in gods. Horus will just say essence, and it was just like a myth. But real Egyptians, they believe that Horus existed, man. They believe that Seth existed. And, well, there's another part about their gods and that, but, you know what I mean? You can look that up in your own time. So now, get me the definition of I.S. So, you know, when you say someone is I.S., it's going to get the definition of that, because that's what a lot of them are, man. They're not historians. I know people think, yeah, but they know history. No, they don't, man. The conscious community, forget all their PowerPoint lectures, forget how much time they can name historians. They don't know history, man. Egyptian history, the truth about it is right in front of their face, and they skip over it to get what they like. They skip over it to what sounds good to them. So you got that for me. The definition of biased.
Bias, definition 1, inclination or prejudice for or against one person or group, especially in a way considered to be unfair.
And also, with these synonyms,
prejudice, partiality, partisanship, favoritism, favoritism, or unfairness.
And that's really what it is. Because they favor Egypt so much, they don't want to acknowledge the bad. They don't want to acknowledge the homosexuality. They don't want to acknowledge that Egyptians did believe in a spiritual way of life. They believed in gods that they could not see. Why? Because they use that on the Bible. Like, come on, man. We believe in fairy tales. Meanwhile, real Egyptians, they believed in people resurrecting from the dead. Real Egyptians, they believed that as well. Real Egyptians believed in, you know what I mean, angelic beings, so-called. But meanwhile, you have to ignore that if you're going to come against this. You have to ignore that, and that's what they do. Because they don't want to acknowledge, well, Egyptians believed things that was kind of along the same line. So what's the problem with me and the Bible? If really they believe in a spiritual way of life too, if everyone understands. No sweat. So from that, give me Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 22. Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter and the 22nd verse.
Wisdom of Solomon 14:22. All
right, so for those of you that haven't read this before, he's talking about the time of Exodus. So it's, you know what I mean, like it's just going back into that historical event. So read that for me. Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 22.
14:22. Moreover, this was not enough for them.
So if you haven't read this, this is talking about the making of idols, the making of false gods. So it's letting you know that this was not enough for them. So even though people make their idols and people serve many gods, it's not enough for them. Read on.
That they erred in the knowledge of the Most High.
So now, because people make false gods, you err in the knowledge of the Most High. You err in that one God, he can make it rain. One God, he can save you. They err. That's why they have one God of war, one God of peace, one God of rain, one God of snow, one God of this. Why? Because you err in the knowledge of the Most High. If you want water to come down and, you know what I mean, bless your land, serve the one God.
Right.
But what do? They err. Well, it's not raining because we're not serving the God of rain. I got to sacrifice my young son to make it rain. And that's the problem. these people err in the knowledge of the Most High. Read on.
But whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance.
And they were in a great war of ignorance. What does that let you know? When people don't serve the living God, they're always in a war of ignorance. Every war they have is simply because they're ignorant of God. Ignorant means you don't know. And that's what happens. All the wars that you see going on right now is because people are ignorant of God, man. The war in the Middle East, what's the sexy Sunnis and what the Shiites, they war over the Islamic religion. Do you know why? Because they're ignorant of God, man. You know what I mean? If they was to know that there was only one God, would they be at war? No, they wouldn't. And they're ignorant. You gotta serve this rock. You gotta go over here and serve that rock. Every empire you see that has wars, all of it comes down to they're ignorant of God. Like in the Egyptian history, Egyptians had wars. Why? Because they were ignorant of God. Upper Egypt hated the ones that lived down south, man. And that's history. Nothing I'm making up. Egypt was divided simply because they're ignorant of God. But read on.
Those so great plagues caused their peace.
They read on.
For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange sights.
And that's what they do, man. They make strange rites. You know what I mean? You gotta serve this God with the white hat, and the red one is for war. You're doing some strange rites. Meanwhile, that's why God always warned us, you know what I mean, not to do as them, because they got strange rites, man. Every empire, every kingdom, research them, and they got some strange rites. Stuff that you're reading, go, why are you doing that for, man? That don't make no sense. I mean, you don't serve the living God. You are going to do some strange rites. In your crazy mind, you're going to believe, for me to serve this God, I got to, walk up the steps with my hands behind my back. I've got to sacrifice my young son. You will end up doing some strange rites, just like Egypt. Read on.
Verse 24, they kept neither their lives nor marriages, and any longer undefiled. But either one slew another treacherously, or grieved him by adultery.
Read on.
So that they reigned in all men without exception, blood, manslaughter, death, and dissimulation. And
you know what's funny? If you research Egyptian history, before, who is it? Akhenaten, where I believe it was she put in the constitution of one God. Before this is what Egypt was, man. People that was just to, rape each other, kill each other. Why? Because they served so many gods and they was divided, man. And they did all this. And even in this verse that we're reading right here, when you serve many gods in your empire, this is what you're gonna face. This is all of what you are gonna see. You got something, brother?
What's dissimulation?
Dissimulation.
Dissimulation.
It's just it is division. It's just another way of saying division. So if you dissimulate something, you break it apart. Simpler. So let you know that even amongst the Egyptians, they was dissimulated, man. All them serving this God and lower Egypt and upper Egypt. So he's saying, if you're ignorant of God and you're serving many gods, that you will be divided as a race of people. And Egypt was divided. That's history. That's facts. Read on.
Disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind.
What did the Bible say?
Changing of kind.
And what does that mean? Changing of kinds. That's right. Homosexuality, cross-dressing. Now, Egypt did that, man. Now, yes, we go to Leviticus 20 and 23, but even here now, he's talking about Egypt and he's saying they've done the changing of kinds, homosexuality, cross-dressing, and this is the Monday history class, isn't it? So you know what I have to do in it? I gotta show you the history, which I'm gladly gonna do. You know what I mean? So we're gonna get to that, man. I'm gonna show you all throughout Egypt that homosexuality was all up in there. Now, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. There was no law for homosexuality, but Egyptians did it. So there was no law saying you can be homosexual, and there was no law against it. But when you do your history on Egypt, homosexuality was existent in Egypt. Yeah, sure. So homosexuality was in Egypt. homosexuality was prevalent in Egypt, but was there a law saying it was fine? No, there wasn't. But at the same time, there was no law against it, man. Just read the rest of that.
God, adultery and shameless uncleanness for the worship of idols, not to be named in the beginning, the cause of the end of all evil.
And there, so when someone worships idols, that is the beginning, the cause, meaning the reason of all evil. And in Egypt, they serve many idols. And all what we read about, the revelings, the killing, changing of kind, that's what happens when you serve many gods, man. That's what happens when you serve in Horus, Seth, Nun. These things bring homosexuality. These things bring the changing of kind. Now, this is a history class, isn't it? So let's get to it, man. Let's get, you can type it in the search engine and it's got all references. I've got books on it too, just that I was in a rush, so I wasn't able to get everything I wanted to. But give me Leviticus 18 and 20, the 22nd verse first. Then we'll get to that, man. Now I'm getting a video first, then the history, the archaeology, and even in the video, this is the people that have the artifacts, and they're gonna show you as well. But then I'm gonna get into the records because I know what someone's thinking. That's a video. You can't use that. So of course I gotta do much more than that. This being a history class.
Leviticus 18 and 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind.
What did the Bible say?
Thou shalt not lie with mankind.
Now, what does that mean? Thou shalt not lie with mankind. Now, of course, the Bible is written to men. Why? Because men lead. So that is saying, thou shalt not lie with mankind. So what does that mean? Would anyone like to answer that?
Anything of the same kind.
That's right. Anything that is of your kind. If you're a man, you should not be lying with mankind, meaning another man. That's the easiest way of breaking it down. But how do we know this is talking about what the Egyptians did? Go up to the second verse.
Leviticus 18 and 2. Speak unto the children of Israel.
So now speak unto the Israelite. So God is warning all Israelites. He's going to let us have some commandments. A commandment is a strict order, man. God is saying, no, speak unto the Israelites. Please do this. Please do that. God's strictly demanding it of blacks and Hispanics, man.
Right.
God's commanding you that, listen, this is what I want you to do. Read.
And say unto them, I am the Lord your God, after the doing of the land of Egypt.
After the what?
The doing of the land of Egypt.
So now, what we're reading in the 22nd verse, Egyptians lay down with mankind, man. Egyptians slept with men. Why? Because it's saying, after the doings of Egypt, read on.
Wherein ye dwelt.
Wherein ye dwelt in Exodus. Of course, you read Exodus. We was under the Egyptians. We was serving the Egyptians in their land. Ye dwelt. Read on.
Shall ye not do?
Shall ye not do? So now go back to the 22nd verse.
Verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind.
As a woman. So the same way you lie with a woman, meaning you have sex, you can't lie down with a man in that same fashion, man.
Right.
And that's what the Egyptians said. We read in the second verse, after the doings of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, ye shall not do. Thou shalt not lie down with mankind. Then we read in the Apocrypha, the Egyptians dwelt in the changing of kind, man. Cross-dressing, homosexuality, changing their kind, man. Now let's get the video on YouTube. Type in LGBT ancient Egypt. Now, there's a reason why it's called this, meaning if LGBT was accepted back then, it would be in Egypt. Now, before you play the video, who's heard of the UCL? All right, it's the University College of London. So it's a college / a university. It is the 18th best one in the world. Now, of course, it's the 18th, but have in mind, this is in the world. So now they do research on many things, and they were into the homosexuality also in ancient Egypt. So mini lecture, you can screen share that as well, man. So I know you was recording before. You might want to record this too, man. You might want to take this back with you in case, anyone's got something to say. You know what I mean? Now, have in mind, these are scholars. Now, in the video, I'll say to freeze it at 1 second. Why? Because the guy has the history behind him. He's not saying his opinion. While he's saying what he's saying, he's going to also go into the archaeology, into the sources behind him, man. So yeah, let's run that. So yeah, that's the UCL mini lecture, John Johnson at the Saki Portsecond. So now, for those that don't know, with the Etri Museum, that is in West London, if I'm correct. Now, because of the whole LGBT thing, you know, he was trying to make them feel happy about their sexuality. So what did he do? He went to the most ancient, sexually free empire in its time, which was Egypt. And now let's run the video.
My PhD at the Institute of Archaeology.
So then this man has a PhD in archaeology. He's not like San and polite with just opinions. This guy has a PhD in ancient archaeology, as he said. Let's play on.
Museum of Egyptian Archaeology at University College London to talk a little about LGBT History Month. This is the third occasion now that the museum has celebrated LGBT History Month. On the first two occasions, we held some special lectures, and on this occasion, we provided a trail of various objects dotted around the museum, which helped to illustrate various aspects of LGBT.
So also, pause right there. So now, he's saying, in this event, we're going to show you some Asian LGBT, you know what I mean? So it's for them to, you know, look at and go, well, you see, me being gay, ain't nothing wrong with that. Look at ancient history. And this guy, he's a scholar in archaeology. He's got his PhD. And if you look behind him, he's got the archives there. You look, he's got the Egyptian hieroglyphs and certain things to show you about LGBT in ancient Egypt. Let's play on.
One of the objects which has been put on display specifically for this month is the tale of Horus and Set, which is told on a papyrus discovered by Patriot Lahun. It dates from the 12th dynasty and tells the tale of Horus and Set wrangling over control of Egypt following the death of the god Osiris. After many years of this wrangling, Set decides to change his tack and attempts to bed the god Horus.
So start right there. So now I'm gonna read it for you. We're gonna get to that. But now the god, what's the names? Horus and Seth. He attempts to bed him. I think Horus attempts to bed Seth. Now have in mind, these are two male deities, two male gods, and he's trying to bed Seth. Now remember, now he's a PhD in Egyptian archaeology. Now we're gonna read it because I know what someone's thinking. He didn't read it. We'll do it for him in his class later on. But let's get it. He has what? He has what? Each one is rewind that part a little bit more. Seth has what?
Some muscular thighs.
Sorry, you must have wheeled it back a little bit.
Buttocks and muscular thighs.
So you say he has firm buttocks and some muscular thighs. Ain't that gay or what, man? Oh, beautiful. Oh, even better. You help me out with the facts. You know what I mean? And now, ain't that homo or what, man? And have in mind, he's promoting LGBT, and he's showing that in ancient Egypt, homosexuality was fine. So if you were someone that supported LGBT, you will go there, man. You know, it will help your self-esteem with what you're seeing in where? Ancient Egypt. Now, in the Wisdom of Solomon, he said there was homos, the changing of kind. Leviticus says the Egyptians lied with mankind, and he's got the records. And Horus and Seth, he's saying Horus has what? Beautiful buttocks and some, what I say, nice thighs. Damn, you know what I mean? I had some strong thighs, meaning he was doing some squats and or what. But anyway, let's get back to it.
It's going to be fascinating that this oldest recorded chat up line in history.
So what's up? What was that right there? The oldest chat up line in history. I'll rephrase that. That's the oldest gay chat line in history, man. That's what it is, man. And where does it come from? Egypt. It comes from Egypt, you know, the place of the pyramids and maths that don't even exist. You know what I mean? But let's get on with it. Also, yeah, let's just run the rest of that and then we'll get into some more.
Oh God.
Chat outline. We also have this relief from Coptos, which shows the name of the king, I.S.U.P.K. II. We have a tale from a much later period of Egyptian history, which the noted Egyptologist Sir Alan Gardner describes as being quite within the spirit of Herodotus. It relates the story of the king I.S.U.P.K. II clambering up a ladder into his general Sassonet's home late at night and staying there for 4 hours, only leaving after he has done what he desired of him.
Now, start there. Now, there's no nice way to say that, man. He went up a ladder in the guy's bedroom late at night, was up there for 4 hours. Jeez, Egyptians must have had some Viagra back then or something. For 4 hours, man. No, that is real. That one there was a pharaoh and his guard. So he would go up in his bedroom late at night, up like a ladder for 4 hours and goes. He came down after he finished what he desired. So, you know what I mean? Are we making these things up? Is the Bible in Leviticus 18 and 22 making these things up? When it's in the history, even of their gods, they were homo. Then, even in between like a pharaoh and his right-hand man, he was climbing up in his bedroom like some fairy tale love story, up in there for 4 hours doing God knows what, doing what Seth knows what, and then you know what I mean, coming down after he did what he desired, man. And that's why every year in the Petri Museum, you know what I mean, they hold it for the LGBT. So if someone was into that, you could actually go there and all that's for them. Like, well, homosexuality ain't wrong because ancient Egyptians did it. And that's the whole point of the event. And that historian, you know, who knows if he's homo or not? That's, you know what I mean? He looks it, I'm not gonna lie, but you know what I mean? but you know what I mean? He basically is there to, you know what I mean? He's there and he brings out all that archaeology right there for the event. And all that is Egyptian based. So is the Bible right? Yes, it is. Egyptians had some homosexuality going on. You know what I mean? Whether people want to admit it or not, whether people like it or not, it clearly was going on, even between their gods. So, okay, make no mistake, any story written about gods that don't exist, who really wrote them? Men. So it must took a man that was dealing with homosexuality, right? This God wanted to bed him, said he had nice thighs and butter. So clearly in their minds, homosexuality was there, or you wouldn't write that. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to write some myth now, homosexuality don't even come in my mind. I like boxing, I'll say, yo, they had a fight, you know, it got him in the leg lock and the, you know what I mean? Or something. Whatever you live and what you see, you write down. So for someone to write about their God, you know, when he bedded him and he did that, it clearly around you, it was the norm for you to write it down, if everyone understands. All right, so now let's get in the Wikipedia, homosexuality in ancient Egypt. Yeah, that's the top one, yes, right.
Homosexuality in ancient Egypt is a passionately disputed subject within Egyptology.
So now it's a very passionate subject. Even to this day, you got the conscious community trying to deny it. They won't even talk about it. And you know what's funny? People mention it to them all the time, and I've never heard one of them answer it. They just ignore it. Like, okay, when you talk about the gods and homosexuality, they'll go, well, they didn't exist. Egyptians didn't believe, but all right, what about the men that practiced it? There was many Egyptian kings that did do homosexuality. They, you know what I mean? And them ones, they ignore it, man. I remember one said he would do a lecture on it, and I ain't seen it since, man. He said it and never did it because it's clear that it happened, but redone.
Historians and Egyptologists alike debate what kind of view the ancient Egyptians society fostered about homosexuality.
All right, so I'll start right there. So now, in Egyptian laws, there was no law saying you cannot do homosexuality. There was no law that said it, and there's no law that said you can. So even though it wasn't written in law, you know what I mean? When you read the history on the homosexual events, then that speaks for itself. Whilst in the Bible, we have a law saying you can't be no homosexual, man. We got a law saying it's forbidden. If you serve the Lord, you can't be no homosexual. They didn't have that. So for someone saying the Bible's stolen from Egypt, biblical laws are stolen from Egypt, well, how? When we got law saying that's forbidden, you don't. You ain't got no law against it, man. Yeah, get the depictions of homosexuality for time's sake.
Yakum and Kimhotep, the best known case of possible homosexuality in ancient Egypt is that the two high officials, Yakum and Yakumhotep, both men lived and served under Pharaoh Nuseri during the 5th dynasty, 2494 and 2345 BC. Yakum and Kimhotep each had families of their own.
So yes, they had families, they had women and kids, but we're gonna find out what their wives decided to do. Their wives knew something that we did not know, and we're gonna find out. Read on.
With children and wives, but when they died, their families apparently decided to bury them together.
They wanted what?
Decided to bury them together.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the wives like, you know what? Just bury them together. The wives knew them two were in love, man. Even though, you know what I mean, they had kids and wives, their wives knew something that everyone else did not know. Like, you know what I mean, they were having some sexual relations, but let's read up.
In one of the same mastaba tomb, in this mastaba tomb, several paintings depict both men embracing each other and touching their faces nose to nose.
Now, what you see on the right, that's one of them. In your own time, you can research in lots of tombs. You'll see lots of that. Now, of course, Egyptians did not draw in 3D, but you see where the hands are touching, like their side-by-side hands and the nose and the lips. I mean, there's men embracing each other. And in a lot of these tombs that they have, you see a lot of it. So, you know what I mean? To say Egyptians didn't deal with homosexuality, what Egyptian history are you reading, man?
Right.
What Egyptian history are you researching? When in the tombs, there's lots of men embracing each other, and their wives knew something that you don't know. They, you know what I mean? They both died, and their wives, they made them rest in peace next to each other. Meaning they knew that, you know, they were gay and they loved each other, despite them having kids and a wife to like. Well, I mean, with the love they had, just, you know what I mean? It's best that they just died next to each other. You know what I mean? The tomb for one and the tomb for the other. So their wives even accepted their same-sex relationship. So for you to say Egyptians did not do homosexuality simply lets me know that you don't really know Egyptian history as much as you say you do. You don't know Egyptian history as much as you claim, man. Read on.
These depictions leave plenty of room for speculation.
For what?
For speculation.
So now you know what that means. Some people interpret it in a different way, which you will have to show me what that means. If you got hieroglyphs of men kissing a nose and hands embracing each other, you gotta explain to me what does that mean, man? Because I mean, anyone with a brain head go, that's homosexuality right there. Anyone that has eyes and that can see go, well, that's two men kissing, man. That's two men with hands all up in, you know what I mean? And it says what it says, but of course, people that want to deny it, what did they say? That's speculation. you know what they're doing. He's probably giving him a high five. You know, he's probably doing something else and don't want to admit the facts. Read on.
Because in Egypt, the nose-to-nose touching normally represented a kiss.
And men kissing each other. So now we have the history that homosexuality existed in Egypt, but some of them go, it was just a kiss, man. Come on. What no homosexuality? It's just two men just giving each other a kiss, which leads to another thing. In the Bible, what does a kiss mean?
Like a kiss or touch.
Or a salute? Yes. Now, what they say in Egyptology, that is a literal kiss. What in the Bible, kiss means a salute. Even in the Bible dictionary, it let you know a kiss means a salute, means a salute. It's got nothing to do with lips on lips. Meanwhile, what did they like say? In the Bible, men gave a kiss. No, in Egyptology, men gave a kiss, man. In Egypt, men kissed each other. In the Bible, we saluted each other, man.
Right.
Read on.
Egyptologists and historians disagree about how to interpret the paintings of Dakanum and Khnumhotep. Some scholars believe that the painting reflects an example of homosexuality.
It does what?
Reflects an example of homosexuality.
Read on.
Between two married men, and some prove that the ancient Egyptians accepted same-sex relationships.
What did some historians do?
Prove that the ancient Egyptians accepted same-sex relationships.
So Egyptians accepted homosexuality. There was no law for it. There was no law against it. But Egyptian society accepted it, meaning they wouldn't go, that's wrong. They're just, if you was, despite you having kids and a wife, Egyptians accepted it. All right, let's get the other King Pepe and his general.
King Pepe II and his general officer Salasek.
So that was the one on the video that we saw. So now we're gonna get in history because I know what someone says, but he said that. So let's get the Egyptian history on it. Read on.
A well-known story dating back to the Middle Kingdom tells about an anonymous citizen who comes to the audience hall of King Pepe II, here named by his birth, Neferka. The citizen wants to lament about an unnamed circumstance, but the king does not want to listen to the lament.
All right. So, I'm sorry. So now with this stranger, to him, the king, you know, he's upset about something. So now he went to the king. Now this stranger, he's gonna let the king know something about some of his men. Let's read on.
So he orders his royal musicians to drown the stranger's speech with noise. Disappointed, the stranger leaves the palace. When this happens several times, he orders his friend, the high official, Teti, to follow the king. The king, in turn, is frequently leaving the palace during the night.
So now this man, he's upset at him, the king. So now he told someone to watch the king, see what he does at night. Because he won't hear me, he even plays songs to even drown out what I want to say. You know what? I'm gonna watch him. So he sent someone to watch this king, a pharaoh, as what they will call him. Read on.
Teti finds out that King Pepe II keeps visiting his loyal general officer Salasek for several hours, then returning home. So now,
as he's watching, this king is noticing, he leaves his house to go to his enemy's house, and they're there for several hours. So watch him like, why does he do this? Like, well, it don't say every night, but he's doing it quite a bit. You know what I mean? Read on.
The chapter which King Pepe II visits his loyal general officer is subject of passionate discussion.
Of what?
Passionate discussion.
You know what I mean? Now he's wearing that nice passionate discussion. You know what I mean? We know that's not passionate discussion, but you know what I mean? This is a family class. You know what I mean? So we'll read on. You know what I'm saying? Read on.
Especially one certain phrase stays in the center of investigation. The text says that His Majesty went to Salassek's house and did to him what His Majesty desired. So now in the video, the guy said the same thing. So you know what I mean? In the text and what he said the same thing. He did what he desired, and don't even think about it, man. Just just I don't know, read a book or something. Just don't put that on your mind, man. He did what he desired.
Any more on that?
The phrase "doing what one desires" is commonly flower phrase to describe sex.
See, nothing I'm making up. So even Egyptologists know that refers to sex. So who is the conscious community? No, it don't mean that. Says who? You ain't no historian on Egyptology. You ain't been to those archaeology sites. And I must listen to you. I've got books where 125 historians have the input, and I must just listen to you because you say it's not true. You know what I mean? What do 125 historians know to a man that's find it hard to even pay his rent? I just don't know. I just throw the book away and listen to Garfield. I'm just saying. What? Come on. What do these historians know? And they know doing what one desired means sex. Let's read on.
For this reason, some scholars are convinced that the papyrus reveals King Pepe's homosexual interest and his same-sex relation to his general officer, but other scholars are instead convinced that the passage is merely an allegoric pun to religion text.
It's an allegory. Does anyone know what an allegory even means?
Like a parable.
Like a parable, but that don't make no sense. So this guy saw him go to his house, do what he desired, and that's an allegory. These men existed. What allegory do you get out of that? What allegory do you get out of him physically going into his house, spending hours, and saying, "I did what I desired," and that's an allegory? That shows someone just doesn't want to accept homosexuality in ancient Egypt, man. That's the problem. Skip to Horus and Seth.
Horus and Seth. A further famous story about same-sex intercourse.
And Sasaki, make no mistake, what you see on the right, that's a depiction of it. So how can Egyptologists tell you Horus and Seth did it? You know what I mean? It did not exist. It was a myth. It represented something else. When Egyptians physically drew Horus and Seth in the same sex relations, which in that rock that you saw there, man. So what are we doing, man? What are we talking about? When they believe Horus and Seth existed and that sex, what they did was literal, and you go, no, it's not true, man. They believe these gods were essences. You know what I mean? What's that one, Jabari? Egyptians didn't believe in real gods, man. Well, they obviously did. You don't draw a myth. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's get back to it. So that's meant to be Horus and Seth, like a depiction of it, pretty much. Let's get that.
A further famous story about same-sex intercourse can be found in the Kahun Papyrus, dating back to the Middle Kingdom. It contains the nearly completely preserved story of the Osiris myth, and the legendary fight for the throne of Egypt between Horus and Seth.
Yeah, read on.
The chapter in question reports that Seth was unbearably jealous about his young nephew Horus, because Horus was very young and popular. He was quite hampered by the other gods. Seth, instead of very few compassions, and he was comparatively unpopular because of his choleric and vindictive behavior. All
right, so you know what I mean? Let's make no mistake, this is garbage right here. None of this happened. Horus don't exist. Seth don't exist. Their gods don't exist. But this is Egyptian belief. Of course, they believed it. And of course, we serve in the living God. We know all this is trash. But anyway, let's read on.
As a result, Seth tried to either chase away or even kill Horus. No matter what the cost, Seth constantly fails. He plans to humiliate his rival so badly that Horus will be banned from Egypt forever.
All right, no sweat. Let's get when Horus is drunk. Right there.
Seth invites Horus to a party and convinces the teenage Horus to drink more than Horus can normally cope. When Horus is drunk, Seth seduces him to sleep over the night in one bed together. When lying together in one bed, Seth grabs Horus and rapes him.
Oh gosh, he raped him. So there is Seth and Horus. Which one got who drunk? Horus is drunk and Seth raped him. They went in one bed. And this is what Egyptians believed about their gods, man. That one god, Seth, raped Horus. Homosexual rape, man. And you're telling me Egyptians weren't homosexuals? Your origins of your history involves one so-called god who's a male raping another male god, and then Egyptians didn't believe in homosexuality. Egyptians didn't accept homosexuality when they obviously did, man. Any more on that?
But Horus has tricked them. His drunkenness was staged.
Whoa! So you made a man rape you and you wasn't drunk. So your drunkenness was staged. So that shows the mentality of Egyptians. Of course, this story is man-made. They believe these gods existed. You know, one guy who they looked up to wrote this down. And homosexuality had to be in his mind. He had to have accepted it to even write this down. So first he was raped, but really he wasn't raped. He was pretending to be drunk. Reader?
He catches Seth's semen in his hand and hides it.
Oh gosh, Jesus Christ. But anyway, yeah, let's just read on.
The next morning, Horus runs to his mother Isis to tell her what happened. Isis is at first speechless with rage and disbelief. Then she tells Horus to masturbate and use his semen to lubricate Seth's favorite food. So now Seth masturbates in. So Seth masturbates in Horus' food. What are we reading like? And Egyptians believe this stuff, man. And then you want to take up Egyptology, and here's the problem: you only take up what you like about Egyptology. Right.
That's the problem. You ignore all this. I know these stories are allegories. All right. For argument's sake, even if it was, the fact that you got it in it, that's suspect. An allegory about semen and raping, and he wasn't really drunk and he allowed him to rape him. Doesn't that get in your mind like, what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? Okay, it's an allegory, but why are we using that as an allegory? Why am I using that to make my point? Why am I using that to make my example? Anyone? Is that pretty much it? That's right. No, so give me another one. 1 second, stuck here. In the search engine, ancient Egyptian sexuality by, well, I'll let you write that part first, and it's an author of it. Gosh. And you saw when the Bible says, you know, do not as the Egyptians, if man shall not lie down with mankind. There's history to back this up. You know what I mean? This is the Monday history class, and Egyptians did accept homosexuality. It wasn't law, but in their society, it was accepted. But even though they had wives and kids, their wives were fine with it if, you know, he went off with that man and done, you know what I mean, he done as he desired with him, so-called. Go for me. So what's the ancient Egyptian sexuality? You know, sweet. And then type in Elissa Lynn, ALISSIA. Then the Lynn, sorry, it is Lyon, LYON. That's it at the bottom, yeah. Ancient Egyptian sexuality. I believe that's the one, yeah. Yeah, all right then.
Sexuality in ancient Egypt is a subject to be approached with caution.
And now, make no mistake, what is the website called?
It's like ancient Egyptian sexuality.
That's good. I mean, what's called anthropology.
Oh,
now,
anthropology.msu.
So, does anyone know what anthropology even is?
No.
Let's get the definition of it.
Anthropology, the study of human societies and culture, and the development. So this website, anthropology.com, it's not based off just someone's opinion. They done their anthropology research, meaning they looked at how they live. They looked at the records that make you finally collude
on how Egyptians lived, if everyone understands.
Come on.
Right, so yeah, let's read that now.
Sexuality in Egypt is a subject to be approached with caution.
And that's the problem. Yo, the reason why people approach it in this way, because you got people that are very for Egypt and want to deny the sexuality of the Egyptians. That's the problem. And if you notice, even right there, that's another depiction of men holding up each other, kissing on each other. And again, and it's not something they've made up. In the tombs, I've got the original source of it where you can find it. You know what I mean? So it's there. Don't think it's something they just made just to make their point. That's in the tombs in Egypt, man. But let's read on.
Norms in regard to sexual behavior cannot be looked at with our Western understanding of sexual identity as many cultures. Both past and present do not create categories based on the same things we do. Moreover, we must be careful when interpreting both written and artistic accounts of sex, as we might cast our own assumption and biases.
So now, with author, of course, their job is just to lay down the facts. Now, we've read other history besides them. So are we making assumptions? Are we just assuming from what we read, or is it saying what it's saying? That's right. So let's skip to sex.
Oh, sex. In art, sex is not usually explicitly detailed. Though since much artwork was either in tombs or temples, it can be argued that their sexual acts were not depicted so as to avoid their discretion.
So meaning they wasn't discreet on their sexuality. So in the tombs, in the pyramids, they're very open about their sexuality. So even they know that, well, what you see is obviously how their sexual lives were like in their art. Read on.
That is not to say that the ancient Egyptians never drew graphic pictures. Often, at least one party was drawn as an animal to censor the act of the Egyptians, had a certain prudishness toward illustrations between the two humans. Beyond this, the ancient Egyptians did not seem to be terribly shy about sex.
And they know from their anthropology, Egyptians weren't really shy about sex, man. You can't be shy if you're carving this god sleeping, this one on the wall, these two men holding up each other. So it's obvious they wasn't really shy about, you know what I mean, their sexuality. Any more on that? Is that
the mythology relies heavily on sexual themes.
So even that, so even their mythology is on sexual themes. So for them to even make their points, they would have related to sexuality, which that shows a lot of what's on your mind, what you're seeing, what you're doing. If you know what I mean, everything is always just based about sex. Let's read on.
Their mythology relies heavily on sexual themes, and there are many possible coded messages and euphemisms about sex riddled within the art itself. For example, King Tutankhamun is shown on a chest using a bow, while his wife stands by his feet with an arrow at the ready, the verge to shoot.
So you know what that means, right? His wife's on the floor, and basically with an bow and arrow, is depicting what he's about to do. So they weren't really shy, but it's gonna explain what the arrow meant. Let's get that.
The ancient Egyptian language also means to ejaculate.
So now with the arrow, it meant to shoot, meaning ejaculate. So his wife's on the floor, and he's gonna ejaculate all over his wife. Now, as I said, Egyptians weren't very shy about their sexuality. For you to depict that, you know what I mean? Like, okay. In what's the scripture about the marriage is undefiled? I mean, what's it? The bed is undefiled. Now, of course, that don't mean homosexuality, of course. If someone shoots over his wife, you do it behind your doors, that's on you. But you don't go writing it on the walls for everyone to know what you do. And that's how Egyptians were. What people do in the bedroom, from long as it's not sinful, that's on them. But you know, they were very open about it, where you even making it obvious for everyone to know what you do with your wife. Read on.
This is symbolic of the need to have sex in order to be reborn after death. Moreover, their religion itself will step in sexual themes, including the Islamic God myth.
Yes, that's right. Skip down this quite a bit, but for time's sake, a bit more. Not contraception, adultery. We get to the incest, but I gotta get the. We'll save the incest for last. Let's get the. We might get the homosexuality if there's any that I missed. Don't want to kill it, you know what I mean? A bit more. Nefkari. Let's get lesbianism. So it wasn't even just for the men, even the women, they had like other women that they was with too. Let's get that.
Lesbianism, as to whether or not two women could be stigmatized for being in a relationship, it is unknown.
So what are they saying? Meaning, could you stigmatize them for being in a relationship? It's unknown. Now, that's not saying lesbianism in ancient Egypt was not accepted. Saying that, could you look at them and go, look at those two? That didn't like we stigmatize them. In Egypt, that is unknown. Let's read on.
God, there are some readings of Nefertiti being a lesbian.
So now there's some readings of who?
Nefertiti being a lesbian.
Nefertiti. And who's that? That's the one that Erica Badu likes. You know what I mean? She wants to be Nefertiti. She was a lesbian, man. Nefertiti wasn't like you. You're married and have a husband. Nefertiti like women, man. So it shows how much you know about her, and this shows how much you don't know about her too. Let's read on.
Due to her infertility and the ambiguous sexual orientation of her husband, while I am not sold on Nefertiti being a lesbian, though she and Isis had close enough relation, I can certainly believe it. I would think that female homosexuality would likely not be seen as strange or as a threat.
So from Egyptian history, if a woman was with another woman, it wouldn't be seen strange. Why wouldn't it be seen strange? It was the norm. There was no law for it or against it, but in their society, their everyday life, it was accepted. So that's why it wouldn't seem strange. Like two women, like what are we doing? Why? Because men were sleeping with men. So what stops women from sleeping with other women? Let's read on. And let's get the bestiality. Hold on. Let's get Leviticus 18 and 23.
Leviticus 18 and 23. Neither shall thou lie with any beast.
What did the Bible say?
Neither shall thou lie with any beast.
So God told the Israelites, remember, after the doings of Egypt, ye shall not do. Then it lets you know, neither shall ye lie with any beast. I mean, any animals, bestiality, as what we would call it today. Read on.
To defile thyself therewith.
To defile thyself, meaning to make yourself unclean therewith, man. So let's get that. So now let's get the history on it. What's it called? Zoophilia or bestiality?
Zoophilia, bestiality. The ancient Egyptians apparently engaged in bestiality often.
So make no mistake, the ancient Egyptians involved in bestiality often. So it means that, so in Egyptian history, there's many records of them engaging in bestiality often, man. Read on.
From cows to dogs to even crocodiles.
Even crocodile, you're gonna sleep with an animal that was do the enroll, the death roll. That'll roll you to death. But because of their evil lust, they even slept with crocodiles, man, and cows and dogs. So, you know what I mean? When the Bible says Egyptians were involved in bestiality in the Bible, is it something we're making up? Is it something we're lying about? When even the anthropologists on Egyptology, they're telling you that Egyptians involved in bestiality often, from cows to dogs to crocodiles, man, to the animal that go bap and claps your head in. You dared to even sleep with that. What's the roll called? The death roll, where it just rolls you to death. You lied to the animal that just do the death roll. You know what I mean? You thought it worth it, man. I got a question as well.
It's a lucky other one. Could I have a breakdown of Luke 21:16?
Yeah, let's grab that because you know what I mean. You like missed some good parts, you know. Yeah, Egyptians done bestiality, you know. Yo, we're gonna read it again once we're done.
Luke 21:16. And ye shall be betrayed by parents and brethren and kinsfolk. And some of you shall they cause to be put to death, and ye shall be hated. You shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Okay, so now we're not going to start up at the top, but with Christ, he told his disciples, and of course, it translates onto us too, because we are his disciples in these last days. So it wasn't just literally for them, you know what I mean? So he's telling them, when you serve me and you say what I've taught you to say, you're going to be hated of your parents. Example, you come into the truth, you're not doing what's some of them holidays, Christmas, Easter, Kwanzaa, if your family's into Pan-Africanism, and your parents are going to hate you because you don't follow what they want you to follow. They're going to hate you, man. Imagine that your mom and your dad that love you so much, you serve the living God, they're going to hate you, man. They're going to want you out of their house. They're going to start being all strange with you. And with Christ, he let them know. What's the next verse? Verse 17.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
And you're going to be hated of all men for my name's sake, meaning everyone's going to hate you because of me, meaning Yahushua. Why? Because you're doing what I taught you to do. You're not going to do what they do. You're not going to get high. You're not going to sleep with whores. You're not going to do the things of this world. And they're going to hate you. When you don't follow the world, what do people always say about you? He thinks he's better than me. You know what I mean? He thinks he's uppity. What's wrong with him? He thinks he's better than me. And that's why all men are going to hate you, because you're not going to engage in the things that they do. And that's why they're going to hate you. And they're not going to hate you because it's you, because it's for the name of Jesus Christ, so-called. You're doing what he told you to do. And this world doesn't do it, man. If you're in the church, you ain't following Christ, man. You're in Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist, Pentecostalism. You ain't doing what Christ taught you to do. And that's why all of them hate you. And how do we know this? In the UPK, we do camp. And what happens? Every religion joins together to come against us. You got the Muslims, the Christians, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah Witnesses. All these hate each other. But when you say that, like, the real Jews are black, Christ is black, the angels are black, God's black, we are the Jews, God don't love everyone, all men hate you for his sake, man. All men hate you for what Christ taught you to say. All them join together. You're on the mic and you're battling every religion that hate each other. All these religions that don't get along, they will come together for that one day to come against you. And that's how all men hate you for the name of Christ, man. So if you understand that, give me a con, give me a yes. If not, then, you know, I believe it's in another account in Matthew 24 as well. So if that account makes it easier for you, just let me know.
Yes.
Have I got any comments online? And yo, me in the case, someone don't like what I'm saying. Good enough for me. All right then. And also, let's get back to the bestiality in Egyptology called zoophilia, which I didn't know that word even existed. Bestiality was what I knew it as, but they call it zoophilia, which is something new. That's right. Let's read that one more time.
The ancient Egyptians apparently engaged in bestiality often.
So Egyptians apparently they say engaged in bestiality often. Let's read on.
From cows to dogs to even crocodiles. This practice was illegal and carried high penalties. But amazingly, people continue to practice it anyway. So
there was a law against it, but people did it anyway. Just like in the UK, like there's some laws, there is laws against it, but people do it anyway. Like a police officer, he won't really be mad at you if you do it. Like visit in your car. Really, if you flash someone, that's illegal. You know, you shouldn't really flash someone with your car, but it's accepted. It's illegal in law. It's illegal to actually flash someone. it's illegal to put on your hazard lights to say thanks. Your hazard lights are to warn traffic behind you of a blockage. That's really what hazard lights are for. But even a police officer, you know what I mean, if you flash him to let him go, he put on his hazard lights like thanks. But really, even his not following the law himself. But what is accepted? Likewise, in ancient Egypt, zoophilia was wrong. There was actually laws against it, but it was practiced anyway. People slept with animals either way. You got something?
Just like I said, she didn't understand verse 17.
All right, let's read that again.
Verse 17, and ye shall be hated of all men.
So the Bible, yeah, go on. Read it again.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
So my name's sake means the name of Yahushua for his sake. Now with Christ, what is his namesake, or what does name mean in certain contexts?
Your name is your reputation.
There, so for the reputation of Yahushua, Jesus Christ, people gonna hate you for his reputation. What is the reputation of Christ? The laws, following the Lord, fighting sin, not following the world. And people are gonna hate you. Why? Because you follow the reputation of Christ. You walk as he walked. You do what he did. You got something?
The namesake of the gospel.
Yeah, the gospel, the good news, what Christ said that he would do and what we should do. And all men are going to hate you because you stand on Christ. You stand on his reputation like, I'm not sinning. I'm not eating pork. I'm not following Easter, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, the church, Egyptology. And all men, every man is going to hate you because you follow Christ. You stand on his reputation. You do what he did. You're doing what he told you to do. If that answers it.
So Slakia meant 16, 17.
Well, I brought down 17. Let's break down 16 one more time.
And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren.
So you're going to be betrayed, meaning they're going to be against you. If you betray someone, means just you hurt them. That's all it means. So your family and your friends, they're going to hurt you, man. Simply because you want to serve the Lord. They're going to do you bad, man. They're going to, you know what I mean, say that, you know, well, I saw him get high. Even though they know that you don't smoke, they're going to say you do things full well knowing you are against it. Why? Because, you know what I mean, you serving the Lord makes them feel bad, man. When you serve the Lord, people look at you and go, you know what? I should be doing what he's doing, man. I see, man. You know what I mean? He stands for something. He won't, you know what I mean, get weak. He serves the Lord. And what do weak individuals do? Try to make themselves feel good by a lie. Well, nah, he ain't really living like that. This guy ain't really doing that. Nah, man. Meanwhile, inside they're like, oh, I really hope it's not, because that shows me what I should be doing. And that's why they're going to be against you. They're going to betray you for what?
And kinsfolk and friends, and some of you they shall cause to be put to death.
And some of you, they're going to even cause to be put to death. Now, I did say this was written to the disciples, and in Acts, some of the disciples, they was what? Put to death. So, you know what I mean? So that did happen. So, of course, some of it relates to us now. And you never know. As we get more into these last days, some of our family may make us get put to death as well. If that answers it, or is a little on that or anymore.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
And we're going to be hated of all men for my name's sake, which I broke down before. All right, so that's if you don't understand it, please let me know. Okay, it's good enough. All right, so let's read Leviticus 18 and 23 just to wrap up the bestiality, then we'll get into the rest.
Leviticus 18 and 23. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself wherewith.
I remember these laws were to warn us that don't do as the Egyptians. So when God says, don't do as for the Egyptians, and then says, don't lie with any beast, Egyptians lie with beasts. They done zoophilia, and they did it, and we got the history and the Bible. So these things were being done in ancient Egypt. From there, give me Leviticus 18 and 3.
Leviticus 18 and 3. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring ye, shall you not do. So now with the Canaanites, that was another family of Africans. So God's saying, with the Egyptians, don't do as them. And when you get the Canaanites' land, of course, as you get them out of the land, you're going to see them do some things, and I don't want you doing it, man. Read on. Neither shall you walk in their ordinances. Ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. So he's saying, listen, when you get in that land, do what I told you to do, man. You mean, as you get them out of the land, you're going to see them do some messed up stuff. But I don't want you doing that. That's what ordinances. Ordinance is just a law. It's just another way of saying law, pretty much. So like the Lord, he's reiterating himself. Basically, it's now saying, keep my laws. You better follow them laws. You better do them laws. It's pretty much like, even today, with a lot of Benjamites or West Indians, what is a habit that we have? We repeat ourselves a lot. Like me, your mom and dad, they say it again to you. They say it again to you. And the Lord had that same similar kind of attribute. A lot of times when you read the Bible, you're like, well, he said that already. Like, you know what I mean? But that's how it is, man. That's how black people are. You know what I mean? When we're commanding something, we say it again, like, I told you this. I told you that. Listen, I did say that. And you like said that 3 times already. And the Lord is the same way. Keep this law, keep this ordinance, keep that commandment. And it's literally the same thing. Read on. Verse 4. Ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Read on. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. And the Bible says, if you do this, ye shall live in them. Now, what does it mean by living in? Meaning you're going to have a good, wonderful life. That's how you live. Because have in mind, while he's saying this to them, they are alive. So how are you going to tell someone, if you do this, you're going to live, and you are hearing it, you are alive? I mean, you're going to have a good life if you do as I say. If you do as I say, you're going to have a good, long, prosperous life. That's what it means by, if you do this, ye shall live in them, if everyone understands. Read on. None of you shall approach to any that is near kin to him. What did the Bible say? None of you shall approach to any that is near or kin to him. So make me understand that. What is the modern day term of saying that you can't lie to no one that is nigh of kin to you? It's like, that's incest. Let's give her a hand. That's what it is. And you're gonna say the same thing as well. Family. So why is the Lord saying this? Why is the Lord letting us have this law? If in verse 3 it says, as the doings of the Egyptians and the Canaanites, ye shall not do. Oh, is that what the Egyptians were doing? So basically, we grew up in Egypt our whole life. So saying, right, now you left Egypt. So you know, certain things you sin and going accustomed to, and these things are right. That's right. So now, you know, I was gonna read on down, but about 10 minutes. In the same article, scroll to the incest, then I got another one to get into that as well. Incest. Many deities were their siblings in Egyptian mythology. So now, even in the mythology, so in the gods so-called, incest was, you know what I mean, it was a very normal thing. But let's read on. She and Tefnut, Geb and Nut, Osiris and Isis, Seth and Nefertiti. Egyptian royalty copied this pattern. King Tutankhamun's parents, for example, were siblings. This culminated a family line of inbreeding that caused the family to suffer from many malformations. So now in another article, it's going to show you what it was. Some of them had very weird heads from incest, very weird hands, clump feet. Now we're going to get into that. But yeah, let's read on. Infections and genetic diseases. However, so now many people talk about this pharaoh. Look at him, black man with the gold on him. Yeah, you see the depiction of him, but did he really look like that? He was a baby of incest, and a lot of them looked totally different to the depictions of him.
Like Cleopatra, she's real.
Yes, she's real.
Apparently, she was horrible to look at.
That's right. You know what I mean? And now she was white. She was a Greek, you know what I mean, that basically like their ancestors lived in Egypt, but they followed the customs of the Egyptians. And many people, they do depictions of her looking all beautiful and nice. She was the baby of incest and she was horrid to look at, which is true. That is a historical fact as well.
So, Tutankhamun's parents as well.
That's right.
And so that famous mass picture, you know, looking all handsome and shit.
He did not look like that. No. And we're going to get into that in another article. But let's read this then, get to the other one for time's sake.
Infections and genetic diseases. However, there is little evidence indicating that the common masses frequently marry their siblings.
So now, was it for everyone? So did every Egyptian do incest? No. Now, if you notice, I'm not biased. You know what I mean? While as for them, for you to say no homosexuality, no bestiality, that's bias. When there's clearly history and evidence stating it. So in the Bible, it says, don't do incest because the Egyptians did it. Is there a history of Egyptians doing it? Yes. Is there a history of every Egyptian doing it? No, there isn't. And you see, and that's something that the conscious community doesn't do. It's a word called honesty. You know what I mean? I don't know if they have it, but they like to get what is so-called benefiting them. Anymore?
Premarital sex between siblings was strange, but it was not considered taboo.
So it wasn't considered what? You slept with your mother. You slept with your auntie. It was not considered like a taboo, like something was wrong with it. So in the search engine, get me incest in ancient Egypt. And again, it's from the UCL, University College of London. That's right, yeah, you got it. And then the next one literally underneath that, pharaohs didn't stay far away for a second. That one was written in an article a few years ago as well. Yeah, just the top one, and that should be.
Consanguinity and incest in ancient Egypt. My curiosity was piqued during one of my turns of the Petrie Museum. Based on all these artifacts, traces, and dynasties of Pharaoh, I was suddenly reminded of the stories of incest and marriages between brother and sister, which were commonly in ancient Egypt.
Which what?
Common in ancient Egypt.
So now every Egyptian didn't do it, but it was a common thing for incest in Egypt. But did every Egyptian do incest? No, they didn't. Let's read on.
Among the ruling class, more recent and topic was brought up again by another visitor. I was then told about Akhenaten, androgynous appearance.
So, who's?
Akhenaten.
Akhenaten. For those of you that don't know, Akhenaten was the one that taught Egypt to have one god after we left Egypt. And what does it say about her appearance?
Androgynous appearance.
Androgynous appearance. Does anyone know what androgynous means? Let's look it up. Well, we're gonna find out now.
Androgynous, partly male and part female in appearance.
Now, there's a reason why she looked like that. Now, it wasn't because she was half man, half woman. It was because of the incest that, you know what I mean, it kind of imbalanced the hormones to where she looked like she was androgynous, part man, part woman. So Akhenaten, again, you look up Akhenaten on the carvings, she looks beautiful, you know this. And what do people call her? The Nubian goddess. And you know what I mean? Who's that singer? Erykah Badu loves Akhenaten. Her whole theme is Akhenaten, but you really don't know how Akhenaten really looked. Androgynous means like you look part male, part female. You know what I mean? You look borderline. And that's how Akhenaten really looked. So on what do you call it? The sarcophagus. It's like a wooden thing that they're in. And there, you know, she may look nice. People look at that black goddess, man. Black woman's goddess. But you really don't know how she looked like, man. According to Egyptian history, Akhenaten was androgynous, meaning looking like part man, part woman. She did not look like this beautiful black queen, which you say. You know what I mean? History says otherwise. Read on.
That could have been a result of her incestuous practice at the time.
See that? So that's what gave her that look. For time's sake, go back and skip to the other one. I got literally like 3 minutes left. Just want to get you the clump foots and the deformations and that I believe in this one. Yeah.
Most of the nations was into incest.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Does that mean most of the other nations were into incest?
Well, yeah, well, not every nation, but
Not every, but
yeah, in the Persians and the Medes Empire, incest was there as well.
And our lot started the Chinese and the Japanese or something as well.
As well, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, incest wasn't unknown in the ancient world. But let's grab this one here.
Scientists say Egyptian pharaohs kept it in the family. Scientists find proof of incest in lack of difference in height of royal mummies. Scientists of University of Zurich studied the height of 259 mummies. Pharaohs varied less in stature, suggesting inbreeding among the royalty.
So that means even the height, because of the incest, a lot of them was like dwarf-like. So when you see depictions of them and they're all tall and looking all strong, they do not look like that. Incest can make you like 4'8", literally 3 foot in that. So you know what I mean? Again, many of those Egyptian tombs that they have, and like the coffin is all 5'8", 6 foot. In that tomb, they only find a man this big. You know what I mean? But they're trying to make them look all valiant and strong. And now the body in the tomb says something different. Let's read on.
King Amenhotep the first was found to be the most obvious product of incest. Pharaohs believed they were descended from the gods and wanted to preserve their bloodline through inbreeding.
Read on.
Historical record claims incest was rampant amongst the rulers in Egypt who believed their descendants were from gods.
So there's a part about the defects they had from incest. Scroll down some. I'll go along with you. Bit down a bit more. So that's the mummies right there. So from there, they got the research to know, listen, incest is going on by their height and certain deformations they have. It might be another one, but if not, you know what I mean? People can find it in their own time. Yeah, let's get him there. So I believe that's Uta and Kamu right there. There, you know, it looks fairly handsome in it. Like, let's be honest. But in real life, he did not look like that, man. He was a product of incest as well. Straight down. Nah, for time's sake. But again, in those same ones there, you know what I mean? It does say it, and they do have the history and the records to back it up. But we're up on the time. So with that, I'm handing over to priest and officer of 5,000, Karafia.
With the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohanna, rule for a new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves off the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will call each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, mean 10th in the Hebrew Ma'ashra, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest fund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you like. Upcoming holy convocations is first groups for June 16th. All active APAC, check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. If anyone wants to be a trooper in school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and a headscarf. And with that, I'm Madiam, please stand. The rise and face the east. And the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shamkar. Yahweh. Malakavka. Taba'ah. Ratazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Baratazah. Hawa. Hayah. Washemayim. Nafaninawa. Lakam. Cow. Yawam. Wasalakinawa. Kabawafinawa. Kasalakinawa. Kabawafinawa. Wala'ah. Tabayainawa. Wanasaya one. Abal. Kabashainawa. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Lakat. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Wahapapara. La'aywalamyam. Amen.
And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done.
In earth.
As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it.
And we pray for the power of God. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Baba Kushar. Nafaninawa. Hakab. Larapa'ah. Kal Makala. Kal Madawa. Hakab. Latahar. Hamatazarayim. Hakab. Lahakwiyam. Hamathiyam. Hakab. Arakawa. Fatama the Garashan. Ba'ashem Yahawashi. The one Aman.
And in the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it.
And with blessings. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahawashai. Wa Mayaka Alahayim. Mataz Zabiyah. Alawap Yohanna. Ha Alawapyam. Ha Saranyam. Ha Kwatazayanyam. Ha Kaliganyam. Wa Akwafyam. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahawashi. The water Aman.
And in the English, bless you, Yahweh. And Yahawashi. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yahanna. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahawashi. Thank you. So be it. And the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh. King of heaven and earth. And all things living. Yahweh. In the name of Yahawashi. Listen to us now. Right now. Send evils and curses. And punishments and destruction. And death. Unto the heathen. That speak against us. Thy prophets. The teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school, send evils and curses, and punishments and destruction, and death unto the heathen, and shake loose the pockets, of the rich of Israel, that refuse to give to the school, force their riches, to enter into thy sanctuary, send evils and curses,
send evils and curses,
and punishments and destruction,
and
death unto the Edomites,
and death to the Edomites,
and the nations,
and
their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek's synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Asian, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the airwaves, the cable access channels, and the radio channels, convict the spirit of any of thy evil that seek to stop us, and bring swift death to all the heathen that stand in the way, or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the terrorists, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and destroy, cause the terrorists to come against America and the UK and destroy them in their strongholds. Let America shake. Let the UK shake. At the hands of the terrorists. Let Yahweh shine. Michael and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and kill all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh, thank you always. So be it.
With a blessed Israel, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Barak Kanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahabayah, Sapaya, Barak Papa, Magun, the Gordon family, the Bennett family, the George family, the Zerman family, and to everyone searching for the truth. That's it. Aiden. All of Israel. Chicago. Daniel. Keanu. All of Israel. Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Wala Aman. And what was said was, Lord, in the name of Jesus, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless your shield. Protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahawashi. Thank you. And so be it. And sisters, see you. In one case to the teacher, men of Israel, I'm Adam Shabbat, I'm Adam, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi Barakatah, Yajamata, and Sah, in one case to the sisters, men of Israel, I'm Adam Shabbat, I'm Adam, Barak, Yahweh Shema Alatah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Yajamata, class is based.
The Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Same